Welcome everyone to MIC's monthly meditation. My name's Scott Quinn. Thank you so much for joining us. We're very blessed to have back with us tonight Andrew Lee, who is a spiritual director and retreat leader and is pursuing ordination as a priest in the Episcopal Diocese of California. He's also a PhD student at Graduate Theological Union in Berkeley, where he specializes in medieval mysticism and spirituality and is an oblate of New Camaldoli Hermitage in Big Sur. He and his wife Kathryn live in Novato with their cat Maximus the Confessor, and they're also currently leading a new centering prayer and lectio Divina group in San Rafael. So, Andrew, it's such a joy and a blessing to have you back with us. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Thank you so much, Scott, and thank you, everyone. It is indeed a joy to be here. I'd like to share with you this evening something that has been a central practice for me, something I've practiced for um, uh, many, many years. I'm not good at math, but somewhere around 15 years, I think I've been practicing centering prayer, which is a form of kind of silent meditative prayer. And I'd like to introduce it to all of you this evening. For those of you who are not familiar with it, I'll give some instructions and some background. And for those of you who are very familiar with it, I hope you'll enjoy the practice this evening. So, one of the, I think, most profound things that we learn from our interfaith and interspiritual community is that the divine is much bigger and much greater and much more than can be contained in any one of our traditions. And all of the words that we all come up with for, sometimes from our traditions, sometimes from our own experience, but all of the words that we come up with to try to describe the divine or name the divine or name our experience, our relationship with divine are inadequate. They don't really express the totality of all that is, of that presence. And no single no single practice, no single word, no single name contains all of that. And so many of the mystics, especially the medieval mystics that I study, but many mystics from many different religious traditions, all seem to agree that one of the best ways for us human beings to approach the divine is through silence, something that transcends words, something that transcends our attempts to name and set boundaries on the divine and our experience with the divine. And this was certainly the case for a 14th century English monk. We do not know his name, wrote anonymously. But in the 14th century, he wrote a little book called The Cloud of Unknowing, which was a book of spiritual direction for one of his directees, in which he described this practice of letting go of all thoughts, all sensations, letting go of ego, letting go of our understanding, and just entering into the simple, pure presence of the divine. And in the late 20th century, the late Trappist monk Thomas Keating sort of rediscovered this practice from this 14th century book and updated it and repackaged it for us modern folks who don't have time to sit around a monastery and practice this all the time. But Thomas Keating came up with this practice he called centering prayer, where you could sit for 20 minutes of silence and spend 20 minutes doing this, letting go of everything and just being present for the divine that's within you. And it involves centering our intention, our will, our intention on being with the divine and letting go of our attention, our thoughts, our focus, our attempts to make sense of the world and control the world. Just letting go of all of that and being present with the divine. So what does this look like in practice? As I said, it's a 20-minute practice that I'll lead us through. And I want to show you, I'm going to share one slide on my screen here, maybe. Of course, it's being slow, but I'm going to show it to you. And what I'm going to show you is a if it comes through there. Well, maybe it goes. Screen sharing has stopped and the shared window is closed. Well, that's not very good. Let's try it one more time. Sorry about this. All right, let's try it one more time. Maybe I'm not going to share it with you. Maybe I'll read what it said, and we'll go from there. All right, that's not going to work. We're not going to do that. I apologize for that. Or maybe can you see it now? You
Yes.
do see it now. Okay, well, wonderful. Yes. So, I don't know why it's being strange, but there it is. So you could see it, and these four things. It's still being slow, but you could see the four kind of stages or steps that Thomas Keating laid out to describe what's happening in this practice. First of all, he says, choose a sacred word as the symbol of your intention to consent to the divine presence and action within. So this could be any word. It's just a simple, maybe one or two syllable word, something like open or rest, trust, spirit, quiet, relax, anything like that. But it's just a word. It's not. It's not. Oh, it's gone again. Okay, it's not a word that necessarily is has any particular religious meaning or anything. It's just a word that symbols your intention, your desire to be present with God. So choose a word like some kind of word. It's not a mantra. Eventually, we'll let that word go too, but it's a word that will start you out in letting go of everything and focusing on the divine. So in the second step, we've lost it. Well, the second step is to sit quietly and gently introduce your sacred word. And what this means is to um, wait for I'll give some instructions to get comfortable, and I'll ring the bell, so wait for the bell. But once I ring the bell, take a moment to settle yourself, get comfortable, and begin to gently introduce your sacred word into your consciousness. Just drop it onto the kind of surface of the water of your mind. And as you're doing that, you're letting go of everything else. You're just indicating your presence by saying your word that you want to be present for the divine. And then the third step is that as thoughts arise, you gently let them go and you gently return to your sacred word. This is the heart of the practice. This is what we'll be doing for most of the 20 minutes. Once you really get settled in, you're sitting there, your eyes might be closed, you're sitting comfortably, and stuff is coming up. What Thomas Keating calls thoughts includes sensations, feelings, ideas, notions, memories, anything that's coming up from your egoic self, your surface self. You let those things go. So the idea is not that we're getting rid of those things. You sometimes hear discussion of trying to, sort of eliminate thoughts or erase thoughts, and that's not what we're trying to do. We're just getting some distance from them. So your thoughts are constantly going by, sensations, feelings constantly going by, and you're taking a step back to let those things go, to let them go by, let them go by. And there they are, and that's fine. They're over there. Let them go by. And if you find that you're suddenly engaged with one, which will happen thousands and thousands of times in 20 minutes, and that's okay, but you'll find you've latched onto a particular feeling or memory or thought, and you're engaging with it, you're suddenly thinking about it, you're suddenly ruminating on it, and you catch yourself doing that. You gently reintroduce your sacred word to remind yourself what you're doing, and then let that go. Just let it go. Return to the practice of just letting it all go and being present with God. And then the fourth step is that at the end of the 20 minutes, I'll ring the bell again. I'll ring it 3 times. And then after the bell rings 3 times, I invite you just to sit for a moment or two and enjoy the silence as you gradually come back to kind of present consciousness. I'll give you some instructions to help you kind of remain comfortable and gently come back, so that we're not just opening our eyes and suddenly being present, but gently coming back. Finally, as we do the practice, I'll invite you to be comfortable. If you'd like to turn your camera off, that's okay. If you'd like to leave it on, that's okay. I'll leave mine on just so you can see what I'm doing. Um, if you would prefer not to close your eyes for any reason, if that's uncomfortable, that's okay too. Feel free to leave them open, or feel free just to sort of drop your eyes a little bit, so partially open, and a little bit shaded, if it helps you kind of tune in to yourself without being too uncomfortable or too intense. That's okay. And the other piece of advice is no matter what happens, it's okay. You're going to have all kinds of thoughts. You're going to have all kinds of feelings. All of a sudden, some itch is going to make its way known. You first, over and over again, because sometimes that's just the body, and sometimes that's the ego trying to get our attention, and we never know which one it is. So you can scratch it if you want, but maybe just let that go too. Maybe that's one of the thoughts we just need to let go. And you will find your mind wandering. As I said before, of course, that's okay. That's expected. When you see yourself doing that, when you notice yourself doing that, and that's the muscle we're practicing, that attention. We notice that we're doing that. Reintroduce your sacred word and gently let it go and come back to the practice. I don't know how many of you have done anything like this before, so I want to take a moment right now if there are any questions or concerns before we begin the practice. Feel free just to raise your hands or unmute yourself if you have any questions. All right. Well, good. So then I'll invite us to the practice. I invite you to make yourself comfortable. If you're sitting in a chair, you might like to place both feet on the floor so that you don't have the sensation of your feet falling asleep. Make sure you're comfortable. Make sure you're warm enough. And I invite you just to gently settle in, if you're comfortable, to close your eyes. And we'll begin our practice at the sound of the bell. Just allow your breath to deepen as you gently return to normal consciousness. When you're ready, allow your eyes to open. Take your time, be gentle with yourself. I invite you, if you have your screen turned off, you're welcome to turn that back on now if you like. And now I'd like to, as we're just gently coming back in, I'd like to invite us to a time of discussion and reflection and sharing. If there's something that you experienced this evening or something that happened that you would like to share with us, or just some thoughts about the practice, so you're welcome to share that. Or if you have any questions or something you'd like to discuss about the practice, welcome that as well. So please feel free. If you prefer to raise your hand, that's fine. We can call on you. Or if you would like to unmute and just share, that's fine too. Please take your time. There's no hurry. And I invite you to do that whenever you're ready.